Everyone shows Americans they are not so optimistic about this economy, and they are not happy with the Obama recovery. Less than half say they approve of the job this president is doing, and that is not good news for the Democrats on the campaign trail. Watch Hillary Clinton here being forced to criticize our economy.
I've had the opportunity to listen to Americans' concerns about an economy that still isn't delivering for them. It still seems to most Americans that I have spoken with that it is stacked for those at the top.
Okay, of course, the Democrats have been in the White House for nearly 7 years. They just haven't been able to fix the economy for whatever reason. For more on these electionomics issues, I am joined by former UBS America's President Robert Wolf. He is also the CEO and founder of 32 Advisors. Good to have you here, Robert.
Great to see you.
So I want to clear the air here.
Well, I wholeheartedly disagree with the opening on.
We're going to get to that.
Another 9 years when the Democrat wins for another 2 terms.
We're going to get to that. But I want to ask you about UBS, the Clintons, and the IRS. So, you go back to Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. You were then running UBS Americas. And Bill Clinton was getting about $1.5 million in payouts from UBS for speaking engagements. At the same time, Hillary Clinton intervened on behalf of your bank to help out with some IRS inquiries. They were looking for roughly 52,000 people's information for tax evasion purposes, and they wound up with 4,400 that they had to give. So this was considered a bit of a win for UBS, and she helped you in all of this. Critics are saying it was a conflict of interest. What do you say? Because you were there at the bank at the time.
Yeah. Well, as you know, as I went through my presidential appointee vetting, I wasn't part of that. That was out of wealth management. And also the IRS was being handled out of Switzerland, not out of the U.S. I don't see the conflict. I think it was handled by a Department of Justice, not by the State Department. And with respect to Clinton Global Initiative, the things they're doing has been incredibly positive for the country and the globe.
Yeah, but you can understand how people do see it as a conflict, right? Because especially when you look at the money that UBS gave to Clinton Global Initiative in that time period as well, increasing donations significantly.
Yeah, well, I wasn't actually aware of that until actually I read the article, but I would say giving to Clinton Global Initiative and the stuff they're doing with Haiti and AIDS and Africa and Ebola and all that has been fantastic. I'm a huge proponent.
So you never saw a conflict of interest there? I mean, between Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, helping UBS out, while at the same time they were donating to Clinton Global Initiative and paying her husband?
No, I think the Secretary of State, the Secretary of State and the Clinton Global Initiative were separated completely. I don't think there was any conflict.
Well, one hopes so, because you're a big Democratic fundraiser. Are you supporting Hillary?
I am.
No interest in Joe Biden at this point?
No, of course, as a Democrat, we love Joe. He is a great vice president, and if he decides to run, people will have incredible excitement. I think
he's got good favorability ratings. We were just talking about that.
No question. I saw them. He has good favorability, but the secretary was beating those people as well. I think polls are good for the day, but 16 months is a lifetime, as we know. To me, if Joe decides to run, he'll decide that, nobody else. I mean, obviously what happened with his son is, heart-wrenching, being a father of boys myself. And so I think he'll just have to make up his own mind, and then, there'll be real debates and a real campaign.
Is there an over-under on it? I mean, what do you think?
I've already said I think, it's likely he'll be running. I mean, I think he's leaning that way, but certainly I don't know.
And if that's the case?
I've already said I don't know how many different ways I'll be supporting the secretary.
Let's talk a little bit about the economy we've seen under President Obama. You said you took issue with what we said, what I said as we introduced this segment. Why?
Because there's 2 questions. One, are we where we want to be? The answer is no. It's going to take time. We were in the deepest recession since the 40s.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 7+ years,
Well, good.
Robert.
So let's talk about the facts of the 7+ years. I wrote some facts. Okay. Romney's goal was to get unemployment to below 6% in 2016. We just announced the last unemployment rate of 5.1%. We've had 8 million jobs over the last 3 years, the fastest pace over a 36-month period ever.
Okay.
The unemployment rate has gone from 10% to 5%, 5.1. And more importantly, for all your viewers, the stock market is up more than double.
Well,
I think if we talk
5.1% it ain't what it used to be, Robert. It really isn't. I mean, these jobs, they're not paying well. You look at the labor participation rate, it hasn't been this bad since the 1970s. That's one of the reasons why unemployment is so low.
No one's challenging that we wanted to do better. I don't think that's the question. But the question I have, are we doing better? The answer is yes.
Doesn't feel like it. I mean, you go out there to anyone in America,
listen,
it sure doesn't feel like it.
I'm with you. I think right now we don't see higher wages. I think that's a concern. I think if you look at some of the things we're doing, the lack of the Exim Bank reauthorization that helps exports, the lack of an infrastructure bank that the president actually has recommended, which, by the way, is the fastest multiplier of GDP growth and jobs in the country. There are things that have been on the table that because of partisan politics, both sides, we've been able to get done.
And I think a lot of people blame President Obama for a lot. So that's what whoever your candidate is.
That the leader of the free world gets blamed. That's not a claim.
Right. I mean, so this is something
but they should also look at the facts and
Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden will have to overcome.
Well, the good thing is it will be one of them in the White House, and so we'll have another 8 or 9 years.
I don't know about that. It's going to be an interesting race.
It will be.
It's good to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Good to see you.
Thank you for that great questioning as always. Always fun to come on the show.